Hi everyone, we are Evan and Elizabeth from The Right Moves. Welcome to the second part of our video on Normanton Park, whereby we are going into even greater detail about the development itself.
So if you have not seen part 1 where we were talking about the general facts of Normanton Park, the link is in the description below, but let's get started for today.
Yep, let's go! So on to our first point about transport, amenities and the location of Normanton Park in greater detail. Okay, so let's get into it. So in this picture, right, it indicates just how many MRTs surround Normanton Park, right? Even though there's quite a number of them.
None of them are exactly very near. The nearest one is Kent MRT, which is a 1.3 km walk away. And then you have Queenstown MRT next, which is like a 6 minutes drive away. But that being said, the location is still pretty close to town, with Raffles Place just being a 13-minute drive. So while we mentioned in our previous video whereby it's a RCR location, is pretty central, but it's not the most ideal or most convenient of location when you talk about public transport.
Yeah, so we must say location-wise, probably not Normanton Park's greatest plus point lah. Okay, so on to the next one, right, whereby this picture shows us the amenities. Okay, mainly as you can see, is for the parks lah in the area. We must say you probably don't want to go to NUH and Alexandra Hospital too often. That said, right, NUH, Science Park and Alexandra Hospital will be providing Normanton Park with a steady stream of tenants if you are an investor looking at Normanton Park. So as we mentioned, right, there's a lot of parks surrounding Normanton, right, hence Normanton Park. So the developers and the architects are emphasizing a lot on this greenery parks thing, right? So with that, we move on to our next point on facing and views.
So onto facing, this picture of one map, it shows us the general facing of Normanton Park. On the southern part, you have the Kent Park, which provides you with your greenery view, and if you get the higher floor, it even provides you with the further extensive view of the greater Southern Waterfront. And on the northern part, then you have the AYE parallel along Normanton Park.
So on to the second slide, right? We want to show you this slide, which is a snapshot of the URA master plan, because whatever you see at Normanton Park now may not be there for the future. Why is that so? Okay, on the eastern side, the land that is currently a forested area has already been designated for residential use, right? So be prepared for some construction to come out somewhere down the road, right? Even the land on the opposite side of AYE has also been designated for residential use. So on the north to eastern side, those views may not be guaranteed for the foreseeable future.
The southern views will be guaranteed, but you have a future road upcoming, and we do expect this road to be quite heavily utilized, because if you see the plot of residential land, it's really going to be quite big. So there'll be quite a lot of new condos or HDBs coming out in the future. So it might not be the quietest of facing anymore.
Yep. So for those of you who prefer something a little bit more certain, right, we will recommend going for perhaps the western view to the northwestern view, overlooking the low to medium rise One North and Science Park. So what we have done for you is to overlay the information that we shared earlier onto the site plan, so that you can correlate the facings with the various blocks and various stacks that you are currently looking at. So on to the next point, views.
So looking at the views, this first view that we're looking at is the south view. We have highlighted the stacks with the south the southwestern view in red. So you will mainly be overlooking Kent Park, and further down will be your sea view of the greater Southern Waterfront. And when we look at the north view, it is mainly your industrial, commercial, One North, Science Park, pretty low rise. You can see there's still pockets of greenery views around there.
So as we look to the west, which as we mentioned is also more certain, right? Because on the west we have our NUH, NUS, right? The Kent MRT station. So the western view, while some people may avoid because of the west sun. The views are a lot more certain. And to the east, which as of now would be the most beautiful view, because you get a lot of greenery and a little bit of a view of the city skyline. But bear in mind, this view again may potentially be blocked in the future. So this is another picture that we took out from the architect's brief, and from here you could see how much emphasis the architects paid to maximize the views, right, that residents will get. So much so that they not just want each unit to get one view. The whole idea was for each unit to get at least 1 to 2 to 3 different viewpoints, right? So which was why they intentionally spread the blocks out so far, right? So you don't get the block to block facing. So this is something that we actually really like about Normanton Park, one of its plus points. So on to the next point, design. So when you talk about the design, we thought we could introduce you to the architects, right? They are P&T consultants. Some of their past projects are the Glades at Tanah Merah and Alex Residences, both of which, right, Elizabeth and myself quite like for the amenities and the design of the project itself.
So when we attended the architect briefing, I think the main thing that we got from the architect briefing was that the design focus was heavily emphasized on the greenery around Normanton Park, on the Cambridge Park, Hop Park, and the many parks that you have around. And so, although the piece of land is very big for Normanton Park, they're only utilizing a 20% site coverage, and the blocks are, elevated 6 stories high. So the from the ground floor to the second floor, you have like a 18.8 ceiling height. And the idea that the architect was saying was to have the greenery flow through from Cambridge Park through Normanton Park and then towards the AYE.
Yeah, so and we are quoting the architects, right? So architects being very design driven, their whole idea was for Cambridge Park greenery to flow to the AYE, like macam the Normanton Park was not even there, right? So much so that that 9 blocks are supposed to symbolize huge trees. Yeah, but I think it will be a bit of a stretch for all of us to visualize those blocks as trees lah. So on to the next part, right? This beautiful artist impression. So the actual words were Normanton Park was supposed to be majestic, magnificent, and mesmerizing.
Yeah, and so I think this artist impression really shows you, the view from Cambridge Park, and you can see that the block for the second floor, right, it really starts very high up that even the second floor units can overlook the park and enjoy the view. So moving on to the block-to-block distance, I think we can say the block-to-block distance is great in Normanton Park. To start off, it is a very huge site, very long, very big. When you compare to a soccer field that is normally 130 meters by 85 meters, you can see you can probably fit quite a number of soccer fields within Normanton Park. And talking about block-to-block distance, so when you compare block 59 to block 51, which are probably the closest in terms of the width at 77 meters, I think that is even further than what we get at other condos already, and the furthest blocks being 55 and 45, 200 meters far apart. So I think there will definitely not be an issue of privacy concerns for the inward facing. Really, as Alvin said, the plus point for Normanton Park is how the blocks, they're very loosely placed in the development, very few overlooking into each other, and they have been tilted in such a way that you maximize the view and everyone gets to enjoy the panoramic views around Normanton Park. So while some will get the west sun, I think that can be compensated with the view that they will get in return. So another thing that you know from this site plan, right, is the distance also from the AYE. Because the site is so big and the site coverage is so little, they can afford to put the blocks further away from the AYE. So you have your block 45, which is the nearest to AYE, at already 100 meters from the AYE. The terraces, they are a bit lower rise, so not so affected by the noise of the AYE, but even then 77 meters away from the AYE. So I guess noise wouldn't be such a big concern for Normanton Park from the AYE.
So on to the next point about facilities, right? We have 110 facilities in total to go around. Impressive things, right? Obviously, the most impressive of them all is the 150-meter long lap pool. So with 150-meter long lap pool, right, you have no problems rowing your boat in it. Other things that we like, right, it having 2 tennis courts, which is very rare for a development today, because we get like huge developments like Park Esta and Treasure at Tampines that only have 1 tennis court. Another thing that we like is perhaps the basketball court, right? Some things that we maybe don't quite like is that while there's many pools, there's only just 1 lap pool.
But so with a development of this size, 1,800 plus units, the question is always whether there are enough facilities to go around. The thing to note for Normanton Park is that we have quite a number of small units. So these small units, we don't expect them to be family occupying the units, so there will be fewer kids. So probably the more adult-centric facilities like the gym and the tennis courts will be more crowded. Also, that being said, the small units, if they are tenanted out, with the profile of the tenants in the One North and Science Park, probably a little bit more European, American, they may be more interested in using the parks, the nature parks surrounding Normanton Park, being more outdoor rather than using the facilities. So another thing to highlight is the car park ratio is 1:1 compared to some of the newer condos nowadays where they only have an 80% ratio.
So on to the breakdown of the units at Normanton Park. With 1 bedrooms taking up close to 30% of the development and 2 bedrooms at 32%, 3 bedrooms at 28%, and we get very little large units actually, with 4 and 5 bedrooms combining to be about 10% of the development. We also have 22 terrace houses and 8 commercial units. Of course, the most jarring figure over here would be the sheer number of small units, with 1 and 2 bedrooms totaling about 60% of the entire development. So people will be asking, can the area absorb this sheer amount of small units coming on into the market once the project TOPs? Will there be sufficient tenants to fill up all these units? And we'll be answering that question later on in the video.
Moving on to block configuration. So all blocks, the 9 blocks, all have 9 units per floor, with the exception of block 45 where there are only 8 units per floor. Each block also have 3 lifts, which I think will be sufficient for the whole block. But the thing to note about Normanton Park is that although there are very few large units, the more premium units, the 4 and 5 bedrooms, right, they didn't congregate them into a premium block. Unlike, for example, Park Clementi, where your most premium units are in blocks of just 4 units, which also gives you more privacy for the premium units.
So on to the next point on finishing, some things that we like and don't like right after our show flat tour. So what we do like are the large format floor tiles that the developers have used, and these are really quite big. We don't have the exact dimensions, but we'll probably just add that into the video. But these large tiles would make the unit feel a lot bigger than it actually is.
Yeah, I don't think we have seen any recent new launch condos with tiles as large as the ones at Normanton Park. And normally this kind of larger, more expensive large tiles are reserved for only the larger units, but at Normanton Park they give these large tiles for all bedroom types, all the way from the 1 bedroom to the 5 bedroom. So I must say, when we went into the 2 bedroom show flat, right, which was like the smaller unit, it really felt pretty grand with the large tiles.
Yep. Another thing that we like is that over at the 1 and 2 bedrooms, they have this bronze finish that we thought
trimming on the carpentry.
Bronze trimmings on the carpentry that we thought were quite classy. As a matter of fact, we actually preferred the bronze trimmings more so than the gold trimmings that are used for the larger units. That was honestly a bit much for our liking lah, the gold trimmings. Another thing that we didn't quite like was the toilet bowls that they used in the developments. So if they were trying to go for the more premium feel, right, they could have at least chosen a concealed cistern versus a very traditional looking toilet bowl like that. And the last thing, right, perhaps something that is not exactly finishing, but something that a lot of people like, is that the walls can be hacked. So Normanton Park is an en-bloc project, so there isn't a requirement for them to use the PPVC construction method. So that being said, all the walls, right, if you like, you can hack. Right, so you can combine the bedrooms to make it bigger.
Gives you more flexibility.
Yes, it gives you more flexibility. So on to the main part of the video, whereby we share with you our thoughts on the layouts of the units at Normanton Park, and we'll be going through each and every single one of them, starting of course at the one bedrooms. So for the one bedrooms, we have 6 types: A, B, C, AR, BR, CR, with R being the smaller versions of the one bedrooms, and the R's are the ones that are also facing outside. We personally like type B the best, and Elizabeth will share with us why.
So the type B layout has the kitchen on 2 rows rather than the kitchen being on one whole long row along the walkway. So what that gives you is the opportunity to build some glass sliding panels, and then you can make it into an enclosed kitchen, which is really pretty rare for one bedrooms. Also, the thing to note about the one bedrooms is that they do allow the dual access into the toilet, the Jack and Jill doors, whereby one door is into your bedroom and the other door is from the living area. So your guests don't have to enter your bedroom to go into the toilet, which is what you find at most one bedrooms.
Next, the 1+ studies, and we really like the 1+ studies at Normanton Park actually. So if you go to the show flat, you will see 1+ study being the show unit. We like it particularly because as you step into the unit, you can actually see quite a fair bit of the unit based on the angle of your view. Another thing that we like is that the study room can fit in a single bed, something that you can also see when you go to the show flat itself.
But actually, our favorite 1+ study layout is type B, and that is really because this unit is in an en-bloc project where we can hack the walls. So if you notice, the kitchen is adjacent to the study, and if you actually hack that wall, right, you can make it into a very big kitchen, dining area, or even an island. So it would be a very big common space for you to have guests and entertain. But that being said, is if you don't need a real study for your unit.
However, what we would avoid, or perhaps the least favorite of the layouts, would be type C, because if you look over here, there is this odd kink created by the placement of the fridge, so that kind of impairs the view when you enter the unit. And also, we feel the DB box it's situated at a pretty awkward place, because once the DB box is situated over there, you will struggle to add the single bed in your study.
So for the 2 compact, there are 4 types. Again, A, B, AR, BR, with the R being the smaller versions of the A and B's. Good things that we like about the 2 compact. So first thing you notice when you come in through the doorway, you enter into the kitchen, which is gives you a lot of privacy in your living and dining area. You can leave your door open and your neighbors won't look into your living and dining area. Another good thing that we like is the kitchen is a U shape. So this gives you a lot of options to again get an ID to enclose the kitchen. But the things that we don't like, no natural ventilation in your toilets and in your kitchen, which is actually quite expected for this kind of size. And one more thing, B has a bigger kitchen, so depending on your own personal use, if you like to cook, then maybe B would be the better option.
On to the 2 premiums, whereby you get 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. There's a total of 8 different types, a mixture of dumbbells and standard ones with the bedrooms all tucked away at one side. If you head down to the show flat, you'll see type B that is 68 square meters in size. Our personal favorite is actually type G and H because they have natural ventilation and an enclosed kitchen, but they are also the larger ones, the largest of the two premiums at 71 and 72 square meters in size. The developers have been very smart by placing these two types nearest to the highway, so we won't be surprised actually to see these units, albeit being bigger and having all the plus points like natural ventilation and enclosed kitchen, being priced very similar to the other different types, because if you can see types C, A and B tend to be facing the greenery or the pool, so the developer may be using this as a point to price those units. End of the day, we have to look at the pricing lah, but on the layout point, we like G and H the best.
Yeah, so another thing to note is that for the 2 premium bedroom units and above, so anything larger than a 2 premium, you will notice that in the master bedroom, right, the window of the L shape. So I think this is also the developer's point in letting all the owners in the development, to enjoy maximum view. That little small king really gives you much better views in your bedroom. It's a very nice touch. But one thing that we don't like is that wall that is jutting out between the second bedroom and the master bedroom, which you will see even in the larger units. So while you get the L-shaped window that gives you a little bit more panoramic views on one side, you get the other side blocked by that wall jutting out. So that wall, we don't really like it.
So on to the 2+ studies with only 2 types. They are actually one of our favorite layouts in this development as well, because again they come with enclosed kitchen, natural ventilation, but what we like in particular is that the study is side by side with the master bedroom, so that allows you to have the flexibility of removing that wall in the study area to create a supersized master bedroom,
or even convert the study into a walk-in wardrobe, and I think that will be a plus point for all the ladies.
Yep. So why we like the 2+ study so much, because it's being laid out like a 3-bedder, whereby you have all the bedrooms facing forward and having full height windows. So on that, the difference between type A and type B for the 2+ study is just the walkway at the front, and we have flipped it in the layouts for you to see clearly. So here's a little bonus tip for all of you that is considering the 2+ study. We'll pay special attention to stack 10 because we feel it might be of good value if the price is right, because it's the closest of the stacks facing the highway. So with that, the developers may price it competitively. And if you take a high floor view, actually the master bedroom will get a very nice unblocked view. So we won't be surprised, because as you can see, the 2+ studies are all lined back to back with one another, and with them being further and further away from the highway. But view-wise, more or less the same. It's just that the further away from the highway, they get a little bit more pool view. So we are not sure how much the developers will load the prices on this. So depending on the price, stack 10 may be of good value.
For the 3 compact, there are 8 types, but actually if you look at the floor plans closely, right, they're more or less all the same, mirroring one another. The difference really is the facing and the length of the walkway. So the sizes range from 84 to 90 square meters. We are showing you both the smallest and the largest, so everything in between is really just how long or how short the entrance walkway is. So good thing is that all of them have natural ventilation in your kitchen, in your toilets, and all bedrooms can put in a queen bed. And this is really worth taking note of, because the 3 compacts at other new launches, for example Park Clementi or Tri-Link, they cannot put in a queen bed in one of the common bedrooms. And if you also compare to the smaller developments built along West Coast, which were in the bay window era, right, you will find that it may be challenging to fit in a queen bed because of the bay window. So in terms of resale, we find that the 3 compact may offer a value proposition because it will be more comfortable for your own stay in terms of the internal bedrooms.
So for the 3 premiums, right, we get 5 different types ranging from 99 to 102 square meters. You get the chance to see one of that layouts in the show flat being type B, the largest one at 102 square meters. But the difference between the different layouts, right, we can't really see much of a difference ourselves. More or less all about the same. And they are all pretty standard, we must say, as compared to other developments as well. Good thing is that if you don't need the store, you can choose to hack the wall and create a supersized kitchen. Onto the 4 bedrooms, right? There are just 4 types of 4 bedrooms, being there's just 1 compact 4 bedroom with a study and 3 types of premium units. So the difference between the 4 compact and the 4 premium is the 4 compact has 1 less WC. The study room is also slightly smaller as compared to the storeroom and may not be able to function as a helper's room. So for the compact, right, there's only 1 stack, and that stack actually faces west. So we feel that that stack may not be so, and this unit type may not be so well received in the launch. But what we like about the 4 bedrooms as a whole is that all 4 bedrooms have full height windows. Even the bedroom at the back has a full height window, which is something that is not common in developments, because usually the bedroom at the back only has a half height window because that is the aircon latch at the back. All bedrooms also come with ensuite toilets, which is very good if you are looking to either rent it out or have a grandparent come in to stay with you. Some of the downside really is the kitchen, in our opinion, because for a 4-bedder, the kitchen is a little bit on the small side, which also just a very small ventilation window. That's it, right? If you want, you can extend the kitchen by sacrificing either the store or the study room. Another thing that we don't like is the big balcony lah. It's really quite big, so if you're not the balcony kind of person, you may not like this layout too much. One tip from us is that after analyzing the site plan, we noticed there's 1 4-bedroom facing that is very prime, that basically overlooks the entire pool. So most likely the developer will load the pricing on this stack the most. So if you know how to choose your unit, and we are also suggesting that to you, right? If you take a look at type A, which is facing slightly west, but if you take a low floor, it may be quite good value in our opinion.
Yeah, so again, my pet peeve over here with the master and the 2nd bedroom, having that wall jutting out, I'm really not sure why we have this even in the larger premium units. I think it will affect the view in the master bedroom. And one more thing is that even for the 4 premium units, and you will also notice this in the 5 bedrooms, is that the layout type for the living and dining is the deep kind of layout, versus the kind where it's wide, where you have the dining and the living adjacent to the balcony. So that gives you more panels of windows and make the whole house feel brighter, airier, because there are just more windows. So we prefer that kind of layout for the bigger units. So just a little bit disappointed that the layouts for the 4 premium and the 5 bedroom are as such.
Right, so talking about the 5 bedrooms, right? The most disappointing point for the 5 bedrooms in our opinion is the lack of a private lift lah. So if you're paying so much, and especially the fact that all blocks, right, have at least 8 units per floor, with the other blocks having 9 units per floor. So you're sharing the same lift as an owner of a 5 bedroom with a tenant of a 1 bedroom. So perhaps not the most ideal. But that said, we've dug into some of the supply side factors of 5 bedrooms in District 5. The 5 bedroom prices at Normanton Park, the expected prices, are actually more or less the same price as the 4 bedroom prices at the Interlace. So we've also dug into it. There's really very little resale supply of 5 bedrooms in District 5. So with all its downsides, the macro factor for the 5-bedroom in District 5 we feel is still quite good.
Yeah, one little thing that we don't like also about the 5-bedroom is that it does not have the kind where you have the junior master at the end of the living room on the opposite from the other bedrooms. So those kind of layouts give you a little bit more segregation, if you have multi-generation living together. So like maybe the grandparents can take the junior master side while the parents and the kids have the bedrooms at the other end. So yeah, I think that's about it for the 5-bedroom.
So last but not least, the largest of the units at Normanton, the Strata Landed. So some of the things we like about the Strata Landed is that the living and dining area is very good in size, and there's not much wasted space in terms of private enclosed space or balconies, unlike some of the other Strata Landeds out there. But some of the things we don't like is that there's only just one car park designated per Strata Landed, and there's also no lift, because a lot of the reasons why people buy Strata Landed properties is for multi-generation living. So if they do have like an elderly staying with them, the lack of a lift may affect the resaleability of these Strata Landed units in the future. But that said, judging from the sales of the Strata Landed over at Park Clementis, we may not be surprised if the Strata Landed over here at Normanton Park sell well as well.
Remember just now when we were talking about rentals and whether we had concerns on whether the area around Normanton Park could absorb so many small units, the 1-bedroom and 2-bedrooms at about 60% of Normanton Park. So we have done some research to show you, looking at the 1-bedrooms covering 3 MRTs from Kent Ridge MRT all the way to Pasir Panjang MRT, you realize there are only 57 1-bedrooms for rent available, and for the 2-bedrooms you only have 55. So that is not too much, and with the employment hubs at One North, Science Park and also NUH, we think that the area can take up more 1-bedrooms and 2-bedrooms for rent. And if you look at the 3-bedrooms, you actually have even more units available for rent in that same area, 89 listings, but that number significantly drops again when we go to the 4-bedrooms at only 16 units, and the 5-bedrooms even lesser at 7 units.
So that's all for our thoughts on the layout, but of course your final decision still has to do with how much the units are priced at, which unfortunately we do not have it at this point in time. But just perhaps a final word of advice before we go, do not let the highway facing units face you too much, because the fact is that they have been set back already 100 meters from the AYE. Do take a look at the prices before eliminating those units. So thank you for joining us on part 2 of our sharing on Normanton Park. And before we go, a final word of advice. So Elizabeth and I always say buying is the easy part of the property journey. It's the selling that is hard, which is why we focus a lot on exit strategies. We've done quite a fair bit of sharing with regards to exit strategies, and we will put that in the description below. But to summarize it, right, what we have shared is just simply how to choose units, what are the units with good value proposition, but what you should do before even buying is already visualizing the exit, visualizing who are you going to sell those units to, and visualizing as also the different time horizons with which you may want to hold this investment for.
So this is all that we have for you today. Thank you for staying with us on this pretty long video, I must say. And yeah, good luck for the ballot.
Bye!